For me, that is. It's 10 a.m. here in Southern California, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for joining me today for today's webinar on our IoT products. And I just want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to spend with me at this presentation. But let's go ahead and get started. Looking at our agenda for today, we're going to be talking about this range of products and their capabilities. We're going to get into product explanations and specs. Then we're going to look at some application examples, and then we'll look at our ACS Manager software for our ACS series. And then, as always, we'll close with Q&A and finally our raffle. So if you have any questions during the presentation, I would ask that you please hold them for the end. And you can do that by typing your questions into the Q&A box, and then we'll get to them at the end. So if you think of one during the presentation, just type it into the Q&A box, but make sure you're typing into the Q&A box rather than the chat box. If it's in the chat box, we won't get to it. Alternatively, if you have a mic and want to want to ask your question on mic, then wait until the end for the Q&A session, and raise your hand, and then we can answer you live on the air. So if this is your first time joining us, we are ICP DAS USA. Founded in 1993, our headquarters is located in Hsinchu, Taiwan. ICP DAS USA was founded in 2001 to support the North and South American markets. We have over 100 software and hardware engineers who provide new products and the best solutions to our customers. We're ISO 9001:2015 certified in the US, SGS certified in the UK, and our products are RoHS compliant, meaning they're lead-free. So this webinar is titled IoT Products, and what does that mean? IoT products is the title for a subset of products, and it might be a little bit misleading because we at ICP DAS USA sell a lot of products that could be classified as IoT or IIoT, and that stands for Internet of Things or Industrial Internet of Things. Today we're talking about a growing collection of products that cover building security, monitoring, access, and alarms. These products are a little bit different from what we usually sell, and I wanted to highlight our section in its own webinar. On our website and in our literature, this group of products is just called IoT products, so hence the name for this month's webinar. But if you want to be specific, these are building, monitoring, and security products. And the range of capabilities that these products cover, and most of these products are what I would consider to be IoT peripherals or sensors. The categories we'll be talking about today include IP cameras, building access panels, and touch-free switches, and finally alarm modules. We'll also talk about our security control HMI module. And let's get started. The first series I want to talk about is the Icam Series. And this is our series of IP cameras, and the iCams come in two different configurations, the bullet style you can see here on the right, and the dome style you can see in the other two pictures. The first module is the bullet style Icam ZMR8422X. This module is a 2 megapixel autofocused vandal resistant bullet IR IP camera designed for a range of environments such as retail, home, office, residential premises, and hotel security. It features a full HD 2.0 megapixel CMOS image sensor. The camera has a built-in IR cut filter, which allows clearer images at day and night operations, even in low-lux conditions. The high-efficiency infrared LED radiant light can extend up to 30 meters. Its autofocus feature allows users to automatically focus the camera from a remote location. And with a motorized lens, all you need to do to adjust the zoom and focus is just a couple clicks on an easy-to-use browser interface. So it supports a privacy mask, 3D noise reduction, 2D WDR function, and HDR function up to 100 decibels. It ensuring a clear and detailed image to the users day or night. So the second type of camera I want to look at is the Icam MR6422X. This is an HD 30-meter range IR varifocal dome camera. It features 1080p at 30 frames per second and built-in SenseUp Plus technology to deliver excellent video in low-light conditions and intelligent video surveillance functions. Utilizing intelligent image signal processing, HDR, AGC control, and 3D noise reduction, the combination successfully delivers an excellent low-light image without motion blur. This module supports PoE, privacy masking, white balance, as well as a minimum illumination of 0.117 lux, and certainly satisfying your low light conditions. The Icam MR6322 is very similar to the previous one that we just looked at. It's our other dome IP camera. Again, it features 1080p at 30 frames per second with all the intelligent video surveillance functions. And this is the fixed focus. The last one we looked at was a varifocal lens, and this is a fixed lens, which is really the only difference between those two modules. But now I want to look into an application diagram, some applications of these cameras. So a typical surveillance system uses wholly separate systems. As you can see in the diagram on the right-hand side of the page, we have a standard two-part surveillance system. The camera with its DVR or NVR is one system, and the I/O monitoring is a separate system, each one operating independently of the other. The DVR or the NVR records the camera feed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and this, as you can imagine, uses a huge amount of both storage space and network bandwidth. This raises the cost significantly of implementing and operating such a system. Additionally, when it comes time to play back the video, you have to scrub through a massive file to find what you're looking for. So say, in this example, in this tunnel, you are looking for let's say in this example, you're looking for the license plate of a specific car. And compare this to a system you could put together with our equipment, where you can integrate I/O and surveillance. The ICP DAS USA surveillance solution. They can see on the. I have that messed up in my coffee. But let's just say with the typical surveillance system on the right-hand side. To scrub through and find the license plate of a specific car, you would have to scrub through a massive file by hand to try and find the car that you're looking for. But in the ICP DAS system that you can see on the left-hand side of the page, it integrates logic control, I/O, the camera, and a data log with one WISE controller module. So the WISE allows for a two-way interaction between your I/O and the camera. It enables you to record a piece of video or to take a series of pictures when there is an event triggered by either an I/O condition or ROI, that's region of interest, from the camera lens. In this way, the video storage size and network usage can be reduced significantly when compared to a standard surveillance system, and the connection between the I/O event and the video or image can be much easier to query. So with our system, you have a continuous log of both I/O events and video recordings, which makes it easy to compare your surveillance feed to other data. So say, again, in the tunnel, you see a spike in CO2 coming from one of your sensors. This triggers the camera to start recording, and you can then compare the camera feed to the related sensor data from the same time period. So maybe there's a traffic jam keeping cars stuck in the tunnel, and you can check the status of your ventilation system. Is it working properly? You can check the camera to see if there's anything blocking the fans. You can get all of that data simultaneously and on the same system, because the camera, the sensors, and the ventilation system are all controlled by the same WISE module. So I've talked about our WISE modules quite a bit in the past, but WISE stands for Web Inside Smart Engine, and this is a product series developed by ICP DAS USA that can function as control units for use in remote logic control and monitoring in various industrial applications. So our WISE modules offer a user-friendly and intuitive web page interface that allows users to implement if-then-else control logic with just a few clicks. So the WISE controller features an onboard logic rules engine, and it offers if-then-else rules for you to set up your own logic controls. And you can see the kind of conditions that count as if. That's going to be digital or analog input. You can time functions based on a schedule or a timer, and of course, in this application, you can trigger functions based on a CGI command received from the camera. And then you have a number of outputs and alerts and alarms that you can send over email, SMS, and WeChat that you can send as an output action. And of course, you can also schedule uploads, and you can log data directly onto the module itself with an SD card. So the way WISE interacts with our IP cameras is through Common Gateway Interface, or CGI commands, and WISE supports full CGI command operations, CGI command sending, and CGI command receiving. The CGI command sending action can be added to the logic engine as both input and output, so as both if and then statements in response to either events or I/O or your schedule. So, and for another quick example, in this diagram, a break-in triggers a switch on the magnetic lock, which alerts the WISE module. The WISE sends a CGI command to the camera, which starts taking a series of pictures. Those pictures are sent as CGI files back to the WISE, and the pictures on the WISE can be sent straight to a control room, or they can be can upload them through FTP at a pre-scheduled time, or stored on the SD card for retrieval later. So that's a pretty good introduction to our Icam modules, but we have some other IoT peripherals in the building access sector that I'd like to introduce you. These are our ACS access controllers. So ICP DAS USA's access control systems are an important part of building security infrastructure. The ACS 11MF, the module we're looking at on the screen, is an access control reader that supports keypad and RFID induction for access control. It integrates three functions of access control: voice guidance and floor control, as well as the door access itself, and it's suitable for use in community door access and elevator control. The ACS 11MF supports Ethernet and RS-485 communication interfaces and provides an anti-sabotage sensor and door position detection function, which consolidates the security of access control systems, enhancing the ease of use. And this is the ACS 10VMF. It's a similar module, almost identical, but provides just the RFID card reader instead of the RFID reader and the keypad. It also supports both Ethernet and RS-485, and like the 11V, it integrates the functions of the door sensor with the access control and the access logs. So finally, in this family, I want to look at the ACS 20B MRTU. This is a NoTouch infrared sensor switch From ICP DAS USA, it can be used to open a door using palm induction, which makes it more convenient when entering or exiting a room or building. The inductive distance and the delay time for door opening are adjustable. It has red and blue indicator lights to show the status of the switch. As people enter and exit the door using the NoTouch infrared sensor, a timestamp recording the action can be simultaneously logged. So the IR sensor includes an RS-485 interface and provides Modbus RTU communication, which can remotely enable or disable the switch and get the induction time records from the access control system. Additionally, the NoTouch infrared sensor switch is not only used for the access control system, but can also help you control other electronic devices. While it is triggered in toggle mode the first time, the switch outputs an on signal, and the next time it is triggered, it outputs an off signal. The NoTouch infrared sensor switch can be used with electric doors to prevent issues related to the spread of infectious bacteria via touch. The switches can be used in medical institutions, retail stores, the food industry, industrial plants and offices, etc., to provide a more sanitary environment. So putting all of these functions together, the door access control and the IP camera, is the Ha401 Controller. The Ha401 is an intercom host that supports security situation control and integrates functions related to message notifications, security alarms, community bulletins, interior environment control, visitor intercom, and even push advertising. So the Ha401 uses advanced automation control, database software, computer network communication technology, and building message management, combined with a smart building control system to achieve an all-in-one building automation and security controller. The Ha401 provides support for a number of standard communication protocols, such as Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP, when used in conjunction with third-party software such as SCADA. The Ha401 is able to provide support for a range of smartphones, and the phones can be used to integrate with local or remote software to provide control functions for building lighting, air conditioning, etc., as well as providing security alerts, so delivering a flexible control solution for on- and off-site personnel. And these are two quick application diagrams explaining how the ACS switches and the ACS card readers work. It's fairly simple. So like I described with the ACS 20, the ACS 20B, the difference between the 20W and the 20B is just the casing color, white or black. But you can see that the same module provides both on and off for the door. And in this instance, we have the access control reader on the outside of the door, which is controlling the magnetic lock. But on the inside of the door, it's simply controlled by a switch. And again, so the ACS 11, the card reader, is then sending access logs via Ethernet back to your control system. And on the control system, you can log ID numbers off of the RFID card so you can see who is accessing which doors when. Which brings us right to our ACS Manager software. So the ACS Manager is designed for easy and first off, this is free software that comes with our ACS units. So the ACS Manager is designed for easy and quickly establishing a simple access control system with a link to a SQL database. It can be used to manage ACS readers and card user IDs. All settings are saved in the MySQL database, and the Reader Sync program will publish the settings to ACS readers and read back the access records from your ACS readers. It also provides reader configuration, which is going to be very important. So reader can control an electromagnetic lock or elevator buttons to automatically establish. It also automatically establishes a connection to the MySQL database. It also supports reader groups, so you can set a card's access rights according to groups. You can also control card user IDs and user information settings, and you can also set an audio file that plays when the reader accepts or disallows a card. And of course, you can use the ACS Manager software with your MySQL database to track access records. And finally, this is our last application for today, but quickly before we wrap up, I would like to introduce you to two new products from our ALM series of audible alarms. So this is the Alm04 MRTU. This is a module that features an RS485 connection and supports Modbus RTU. And let's see. The Alm04 MRTU includes 4 channels of isolated digital input with 8 alarm modes, 1 channel relay digital output, and an audio line out. It also accepts the MP3 audio format, and all files and configurations are stored in a micro SD. So this is just an audio alarm that accepts an MP3 file and plays based on its 4 digital input channels, but it also has 1 relay out for activating a separate alarm, closing a door, turning on ventilation, or activating a light. And then finally, we have the Alm Horn MRTU. So the Alm Horn Series includes three models, and it's very similar to the other ALM modules, except it provides a siren sound. The Alm Horn Series includes 1 channel digital input for any dry contact input and 1 channel digital output. Each device has 4 kinds of alarm tone, and the Alm Horn WF and MRTU support Modbus protocols, which makes them perfect for integrating into your monitoring and control software. Alm Horn Series have a high sound pressure output, wide input power range, and are IP43 rated. But that about brings us to the end of the presentation for today. As always, why should you choose ICP DAS USA? We pride ourselves on providing reliable and cost-effective components designed to fill in the gaps in your system architecture. All of our parts work well with third-party components and systems. We offer a wide variety of products and solutions that will fit any scale of project. So I am now going to open up the floor for our Q&A session. We should have my colleague Robert here from our